These are the individuals in the group. It's headed by this Mirima. It's the boss, the silverback. But there's some hiking. At times we pass through jungle places, water. This convection rainfall. So here it can rain anytime. Like now, we take this to be the dry season here. But it can rain anytime.
Any minutes?
Even today.
I think we probably left around 9-ish, something like that. So we've just hiked to apparently the top of the mountain. The terrain is very, very similar to hiking around the British Columbia mountains, so it's very familiar terrain. But of course, we don't have the tropical rainforest there. So yeah, it's been good. I'm watching my steps so I don't step into some safari ants. And I'll just make sure now that I'm not sitting in a bunch of them.
How's the going?
It's good.
Well,
Yeah, it's really tough slogging through the jungle, but it's good. I've taken one wipe out already.
I don't think the guides were entirely sure where they were, and they were on the radio trying to establish contact when all of a sudden there was crashing in the bush behind us, and we were led a couple of feet into the bush, and all of a sudden here was this enormous silverback just sitting like some old Buddha contemplating the world, and he didn't seem to be at all perturbed by our appearance there.
An adult male can grow up to 6 feet in height with an arm span of more than 7 feet, and they can weigh up to 400 to 500 pounds. Mountain gorillas are highly social and live in relatively stable, cohesive groups that are held together by long-term bonds between adult males and females. Each group, of course, is led by a silverback or a mature male, and in the Virunga mountain gorillas, the average length of tenure for a dominant silverback is about 4.5 years. There were a number of juvenile gorillas in the group that we encountered. A newborn gorilla weighs about 4 pounds and typically spends its first few months of life in constant physical contact with its mother. They begin to walk at around 4 or 5 months, and they start to put plant parts in their mouths between 4 and 6 months. At 8 months they are regularly ingesting solid food, and weaning occurs around 3 years of age, although juveniles may remain with their mothers for years after that. Most males and about 60% of females leave their natal group. Males leave when they are about 11 years old, and often the separation process is a slow one. They spend more and more time on the edge of the group until eventually they leave. Females typically emigrate when they are about 8 years old, either transferring directly to an established group or beginning a new one with a lone male.
I got some good shots of the eyes of some of the gorillas, and as you look into their eyes, you see there's something behind those eyes.
You see a personality?
Yeah, they're so human.
Mountain gorillas are most active during the day. Many of their hours are spent eating, as large quantities of food are required to sustain their massive bulk. They forage in the early morning, they rest during the late morning and around midday, and then in the afternoon they forage again before resting at night.
Come again.
Yeah, I don't think I quite anticipated just how difficult moving around in the terrain was. I understand now why this place is called Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. Getting around through the forest was really difficult. The trackers had small machetes that they used to cut down the undergrowth so that we could follow the guerrillas around. If they hadn't been there with those little machetes, there's no way we would have been able to follow the guerrillas as they marched through the forest. It really was impenetrable.
The majority of their diet is composed of leaves, shoots, and stems, but they will also eat bark, roots, flowers, and fruit, as well as larvae, snails, and ants. And the adult males can eat up to 75 pounds of vegetation a day, while a female can eat as much as 40 pounds.
We were allowed to have contact with the guerrillas for only 1 hour, and that's to reduce the stress on the guerrillas so that they don't become susceptible to disease. I think you're supposed to maintain a distance of 7 meters at the most, and of course some of the younger guerrillas were bound and determined that they were going to get up close and personal, so that 7-meter boundary was never really, I don't think, observed during our entire visit. You have to feel privileged, having seen what we saw today, when you realize just how few people get an opportunity to actually do what we did. There are only 16 permits every day issued in Bwindi. So, I mean, we're talking about a mere few thousand people get to do this at any given year. And it was really special.
I just wanted to add the fact that in Pemberton we see so many little bear cubs playing. And thinking back to the time when we saw those 3 little bear cubs playing. And today I had a similar encounter because from where I was standing in our group of people, I mainly saw the little ones playing. And sure enough, they had 3 little gorillas who I think were all about, the youngest was about a year old, the other ones were about 2 years old. And it was just amazing to watch them. They were just romping and frolicking, and I got some great shots of, the 3 little gorillas separately, but for the most part it was one little ball of gorillas and arms and legs going everywhere. It was actually really quite special to be able to witness, just real live gorilla horseplay or gorilla play. We're sitting amongst gorillas right now. It's been unbelievable. It's amazing.